Families will complain, clients won't feel safe, and caregivers will either struggle or quit. Great training isn't just about teaching skills, it's about building confidence, setting clear expectations, and creating a team that genuinely cares. It's about preparing caregivers for real life challenges, handling emergencies, communicating effectively with clients and families, and making sure they don't burn out. So today we're going to break down exactly how to train your caregivers so they feel prepared, stay with your agency longer, and give your clients the best possible care. Let's start with the obvious question. Why does training matter so much? I mean, if a caregiver already has experience, isn't that enough? No. So let's just say you hired a new caregiver, Jessica. She has a couple of years experience, so you assume she knows what she's doing. You send her out to a client's home for the first shift without much training. A few hours later, you get a call from the client's daughter and she's furious. Turns out Jessica tried to help her mom stand up without using a gate belt, and her mom almost fell. Think about that. Right? I want you guys to really visualize it. She also didn't realize the client had dementia. So when the client got confused or upset, Jessica didn't know how to handle it. Now the family is demanding a new caregiver and questioning whether they even want to keep your agency. Can they trust you? Why didn't she know that the client had dementia? See, every agency operates differently. Every client has unique needs. Just because someone has worked in home care before, even in a facility, doesn't mean they automatically know how you run things and what you expect based on your policies, procedures, and the culture of your business. And if they don't get it right, if they don't get training, small mistakes can turn into big problems real quick. Haha. But there is another side. When caregivers are well trained, they feel more confident, they do a better job, and they stick around longer, especially when you're providing ongoing training and CEUs. That means happier clients, fewer complaints, and a home care business that actually grows instead of constantly dealing with problems and staying stagnant in regards to your revenue. So if you want to build a strong team, a reliable caregiver team, training needs to be a top priority, guys. Now, training starts even from the very beginning. You need to start strong. The onboarding process is crucial because it sets the tone for everything else. If a caregiver don't feel prepared from the start, they're going to struggle. They're going to be confused. They may not follow your policies and procedures because they don't know what they are. And that's going to show up in their work. Imagine you just hire James, a brand new caregiver. It's his first day of training, and you sit him in a room for 5 hours, giving him a giant stack of papers and videos to watch. No real interaction, no hands-on training. It's just information overload. So I really want you to think about what your training looks like. By the end of the day, James is bored. He's probably overwhelmed. And if he's like my James, that's a whole other story. And doesn't remember half of what he just learned, or half of what he just read and watched. Now, let's imagine a different approach. Instead of just dumping information on James, you introduce him to your team and you start with hands-on orientation. And most states require orientation, but you want to set your business up for success from the very beginning. You walk him through your agency's mission, your services, explain expectations, and have him shadow an experienced caregiver on his first day. Remember, he's brand new. Instead of just telling him about safety protocols, you can demonstrate how to assist a client and let him practice under your supervision. Instead of just handing him a manual about personal care, you do a role-playing exercise where he has to calmly redirect a client that may be confused because of dementia or any other type of diagnoses that he or she may have that cause mental confusion. Which training do you think will make him stick around? Which training do you think will make him stick around? We have to set our caregivers up for success from the very beginning. You remember so many times I talk about the caregivers are the meat of the business. When training new caregivers, make sure it's interactive, engaging, and hands-on. They should literally walk away feeling confident and ready, not overwhelmed and unsure. And I'll tell you this, a caregiver can have all the technical skills in the world. If they don't know how to communicate, that's a problem. Caregivers should know how to build trust with their clients, especially the ones who might be hesitant about receiving help. It's really good. You go in as the owner and you build that rapport. However, you have to pass the baton so that caregiver can continue and build that rapport with the client that he or she is going to serve every day or as much as possible. A simple good morning, how are you feeling, can make a huge difference. How to communicate with the office and, sharing any updates without crossing boundaries, right? They have to understand how to provide updates to the agency, and they have to know how to provide updates to the clients family without overstepping boundaries. And then there's the tough conversation. What happens when a client refuses care or when a family member is frustrated and taking it out on the caregiver? So caregivers need to be trained on how to handle them professionally without things getting worse. All right, so let's talk about safety for a minute, because nothing will shut down your home care business faster than a major accident on your watch. If a caregiver isn't trained on proper safety protocols, you're putting them, your client, and your entire agency at risk. Just because somebody goes to school and have training doesn't mean they know how to do it right. So you definitely want some oversight. Now, a lot of new agencies assume that the caregiver already knows this stuff. Oh, they've worked in home care before. They should be fine. Oh, I need a client right now. I just need a warm body. Absolutely not. But I'm going to tell you this. Assuming it's a dangerous game. And you may not know this, especially if you're new. Even experienced caregivers can have bad habits, or might have never been properly trained in the first place. So they may have 5-10 years, but have they ever been trained? So caregivers should know how to, 1, properly lift and transfer clients without hurting themselves or the client. Those proper transfers. 2, identify fall risk before they become a problem. When you go into that home and your nurse go to do an assessment, you guys need to be walking around looking for potential fall risk. 3, respond to medical emergencies like a stroke or falls calmly and correctly. Teach your caregivers how to handle emergencies in the home. You don't want your caregiver to freeze up in an emergency. You want them to know exactly what to do. So guess what? You need to tell them. You need to explain to them exactly what to do. Now, my last point is important, and I've been saying this in most of my videos. Burnout is one of the biggest reasons caregivers quit. If you don't train them on how to manage stress, you're going to have a revolving door. Oh. Imagine your caregiver who's been working 6 days a week without a break. She's exhausted, he's exhausted, mentally drained, and starting to feel like he or she doesn't care anymore. One day, she snaps. One day the caregiver snaps at a client. Now the client's family is upset, your caregiver feels guilty, and she's thinking about quitting. Does that make her a bad caregiver? Does that make him a bad caregiver? Caregivers need to know how to recognize burnout. If they're feeling exhausted, irritable, or disconnected from their work, that's a red flag. Train them on stress management techniques like deep breathing. Like at conference last year, we had someone teaching about deep breathing, taking short breaks, and having a work-life balance. And when I say breaks, I don't mean leaving the home while the client is sleeping, resting, eating, etc. You know what's best based on the client. And don't just expect them to figure it out on their own. Create a program to support them. Have you ever thought about offering monthly check-ins, provide resources for mental health, and make sure they know that they can talk to someone if they're struggling? Recognizing their hard work also goes a long way, guys, a long way. Whether it's an employee of the month program, bonuses, or just simple thank you. And I'll say simple thank you, but it's huge. When caregivers feel valued, they stay longer. Okay, guys, at the end of the day, proper training isn't just for your caregivers. It's for your clients, your business, and your reputation. And hey, training isn't just a one-time thing. If you want a strong team, you need to keep investing in their development. Hold regular training workshops so caregivers can stay sharp. Offer, mentorship programs where new caregivers can shadow experienced ones. And I know some of you are thinking, Coach, I'm just getting started. Write this down for the future, okay? And always look for ways to improve. If caregivers keep struggling with a certain issue, adjust the training, create a training, The goal is to create a culture of learning where caregivers feel like they're always getting better, not just going through the motions. Remember, well-trained caregivers mean happier clients, fewer complaints, and a home care business that actually thrives. So I'm going to tell you this, as your coach, make training a priority. Keep it engaging, keep it consistent, and make sure your caregivers feel supported every step of the way. If you do that, you won't just have a great team, you'll have a business that truly stands out. I hope this video helps. If you have any concerns, any comments, questions, comment below. You know I read them. If you need a mentor, I'm here. Just go to homecarecoaching.com so I can help you. This is what I do, and I love it. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on your notification bell because I am uploading videos consistently. Okay? Take care, guys. God bless.